Hi guys, I'm back. This is my horse Chancey. You've probably seen videos of him before. We're going to do a live lunging session. I don't think I've done a live one with him. So this is my lazier horse. He is 9 years old, right? You're 9 years old this year. He is my Overo paint, and he's a Western Pleasure Boy. I've shown him a few times, but yeah, we're just going to go ahead and go start. Oh, and actually, let me make sure my cones are set. Make sure I set the camera up good here. Can you see both of the cones? There's 1, 2. Yeah, let's move this way just a little bit. Oh, hi, how are you? Thank you. Yeah, I just cut a little hole in the top so my ponytail can stick out. I like it. I might have to get some more and do the same thing. Different colors, of course, to match my outfits. Okay. Hope you've been doing good. I haven't seen you in a couple videos or so. Doing good? Anyway, yeah, I just wait because I know there's a delay and stuff. So I'm, oh, good. Yeah, it's glad to see you here. I was wondering the last couple ones where you were. Oh, that's good and bad, huh? Okay, well, we're gonna do a live lunging video, and I'll be back to check in just a minute, see if anybody else says anything. And I have the cone set up so I know that we're gonna stay on camera. So, and I don't think I've done a live video of him before. I've done a live riding video, I think, of him, but not lunging. Walk. Walk. Good boy. Hey. Now he's one that, yeah, he's lazier. If any of you guys saw Mousie's live video from a couple days ago, get out. Yeah, he knows I'm talking, so walk. Come on, walk. Let me stop and say this. If you saw Mousie's lunging video from a couple days ago, it was live. The cones, I had them set out to make sure he would stay in place, and his energy is a lot different than Mousie's. He's lazy, and yeah, he likes to pick things off the ground and stuff, so I have to keep him going, where Mousie's a little bit different. And actually they're all different, so, but he is my lazier boy. So let's try this again. I'm gonna have to, yeah, change my energy here a little bit. Walk. Stay out. I have to be more assertive with him. Walk. And because he's so lazy, I'm going to get him moving right away. Out. Out. Jog. Just because if I don't, he just wallers and takes advantage. Out. Jog. jog. And he'll break a lot if I'm not pushing him. Stay out. Jog. If I don't pay attention, he breaks a lot, where baby is kind of the opposite. Jog. Reverse. Jog. Stay out. Out. Jog. Out. Jog. Hey. He's trying to pick up a leaf. Reverse. Wake him up a little bit. Jog. Walk. Whoa. Good boy. Good boy. Let's come up here. Is anybody here? Anybody seeing anything? Okay, let's go back to it. Back. Back. Well, good boy. Walk. Hey, out. Jog. 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 Walk. Jog. Jog. Got to spank because he's just taking advantage. Jog. Just trot, trot. Let's go a little faster. Good boy. Trot, trot. We usually do this part like around the whole pasture. It helps him jog if I kind of go with him. Because when I'm standing here, I'm like paying attention to my breathing and wanting him to go slow, which he likes to go slow, but trying to watch to keep him going so he doesn't get lazy, because they can get lazy when they're jogging. His back legs get lazy. So I'm watching him to make sure he doesn't stop, and he'll usually get lazy before he stops and breaks. So when I see his back legs get lazy, I try to make a cluck and make him kind of pick it up so he doesn't get lazy and not jog correctly. Because a correct jog is crisp. You should watch the diagonals of their legs and the jog. This is really hard for me to watch him and talk about this at the same time. Walk. Maybe I'll come to the camera. Whoa. Good boy. Okay, come here. Whoa. A correct jog is the diagonals of their legs should move at the same time for the jog. So their left front and their right back should move forward at the same time. And then the opposites move. Then the opposite legs move forward at the same time. And what he tends to do is get lazy, and his front legs will be jogging, and then his back legs kind of start to slow down and short step a little bit because he's not stepping underneath himself. So what I'm trying to do is just watch that, and and I can feel when he's getting ready to do that too. So I try to catch him before he starts to get lazy. And then after he gets lazy, then he'll break to the walk. So yeah, so I just try to work on him when we're jogging. That's what I focus on, is just keeping him consistent and jogging correctly. So when I get on his back, it makes it easier to kind of recreate the same thing. And you kind of get a connection from the ground, from and through the lead rope. And yeah, I think you can take that feeling and that connection and just recreate it. It's easier to recreate it when you're in the saddle. He has the softest nose. Okay, and I do the same thing when we do the lope. I watch him because he can tend to get lazy and fall apart. And what I'm doing when I'm doing that is I'm using the stick to, kind of go behind him and then a kiss, if I kiss at him, to go, because he'll get lazy and fall apart and do the same thing. So I try to keep him up into the lope and correct when we're doing that. That's why sometimes it's hard for me to talk when when I'm doing it, because I'm trying to pay attention to what he's doing and stuff. So we're gonna go back to our jogging. But I like that he jogs slow like that, because for Western pleasure they're supposed to be slow, but you want to make sure that they're slow and correct. And it's a 1-1-2 beat. You should hear a distinct 1-2. Sometimes if their diagonals aren't falling at the same time, you'll hear a 1-2, 1-2. It's like the one foot will hit sooner than the other, and they should hit diagonal, diagonal. So it should be a 1-2 beat. Walk. So we'll do a little bit more jogging. Whoa, whoa. I don't like how he cut in right there, so we're gonna fix that. Whoa. Walk. walk. So I'm going to fix it by making his front end step away from me farther. Walk. He does that sometimes. He'll take advantage, and just probably because I wasn't paying attention. Walk. Jog. Good boy. Jog. Jog. He's being too lazy right there, taking advantage. There you go. Come on. Jog. Walk. Good boy. Reverse. And when you reverse them like that too, if you don't step in and like make them move their shoulder away, when they turn, they're gonna like cut in really close to you. And he's not bad, but if you have one that you don't know and they do that, their butt goes right by you and they can kick you really easy. And even though he's good, it makes me feel uncomfortable when he does that. So when I reverse, that's why I make that shoulder move away. Walk. And I forget, he's better one way than the other. Reverse. So you want to kind of like step in. Jog. Good boy. Jog. Jog. Walk. I don't know if you could see his legs and the diagonal, how he was jogging. I always make sure that I let them stop when they're doing what I want to. Like if they're doing it correctly, that's when I ask them to walk or to stop. So I make them keep going if they're not doing it right, because you don't want to ask them to stop, because that's kind of a reward. And if you ask them to stop or to go down a gate, walk. See how he comes in? No, come on, walk, walk. Whoa. That is a little bit too much now. Walk. Walk. Now we're getting off camera. Come here. Come here. Whoa. Walk. Good boy. Walk. Walk. Okay, let's go see if anybody's here. Anybody here? Yay, we still have one person. Okay. Yeah, we're gonna go up to the lope now. So let's come back here. And I forgot what I was talking about before that. Back, back, good boy. Whoa. He's licking and chewing. Walk. Stay out. Out. Hey. Walk. Out. Canter. Canter. Come on. Good boy. Come on. There you go. Walk. Yeah, right there at the end, he was doing good. He did good in there, but he kept falling apart. I don't know if you could see that. He just gets lazy. So that's why I have to keep pushing him just to make sure he's loping correctly, because you don't want them to get in the habit of not loping correctly. And I want him to go slow. So it's like a fine line of them going slow, and then when they get too slow and they're not centered or their back's rounded, yeah, they start, because a lope is supposed to be 3 beat, and then they start 4 beating it. So they're, I think it's their front legs are still kind of loping, but their back legs almost start to trot. So then you start to get 4 beats instead of 3 beats. And I think that's when they get kind of too slow. They get strung out, and I need to, so I'm using my stick like behind him. He's used to me doing that, and it kind of pushes his back underneath him, so then he goes correctly. So I don't know if you can tell on the video here. Walk. Good boy. But I like him to go slow on, lunging, because it helps me to feel and see what that looks like, and I'm feeling it at the same time. So when I get on him, I can recreate that same feel, just like I was talking at the jog. Come on, walk. Walk. Canter. Canter. Come on. Good boy. Come on. Now he's worse this way. Walk. Yeah, I have to keep his nose tipped in going this way. He tends to want to pull it to the outside a little bit, because I think this is his stiffer side, loping. Walk. So in order for him to go correctly and be on the correct arc this way, walk, I have to keep his nose tipped in, and that helps him to go more correctly, and it helps him to slow it down a little bit too. Okay, let's reverse. I kind of did that because he's cutting in a little bit too close. So, but we're going to try it again this way. This is his better way, and I talked in the live video with Mousy a couple days ago that they have a good side and a bad side. One side's easier than the other for him. They're left-handed and right-handed. I would say he's right-handed. Canter. Good boy. Come on. Come on. Walk. Actually, he was just breaking down when I asked him that, so we're going to do it again. Canter. Canter. Good boy. Walk. That was a little bit better. Walk. Stay out. If you watch him, it's like this way he doesn't, he keeps his nose tipped in without me having to tip it in while he's loping. He's just being really lazy today. Out. Hey. Canter. Good boy. Canter. Walk. So when he's loping, it's like I'm listening to his feet and I'm feeling him and I'm seeing his legs. And you can tell when they get it just right. It has a certain feel to it and a certain look. So then when you're riding them, you can still hear their feet and you can feel them. But then you have a visual up here of like what it looks like. And well, yeah. Let's see. Is there anybody here? Hi. Yeah, and for me it just helps when I ride them, you know, because if you're on them and you have that visual up here, and you know what it sounds like. I don't know if you can hear his feet when we're over there through the mic here, but a good lope has like a certain sound to it and it has a certain feel, you know, and it's like when you can see it and feel it and hear it on the ground, then I think it's easier to get that when you're on their back too, whether it's the walk, jog, or lope. Yeah. It's my lazy boy. Okay, well, I think I'm pretty happy with that for today. I might get Mousy out and do him next. So, but you can see the different energies between him and my Mousy, and then my Appy. I did a live of him 2 days ago too. Just a little bit of lunging. He has a different energy. And then my mare. They all have different energies, and it's fun to work with all of them. They all teach you something different. And I think what he teaches me the most is to be a little more assertive. Oh, thank you. To be a little more assertive. Oh, hi, Susan. Thank you. Yeah, he teaches me to be a little more assertive because he is so lazy, and it's a fine line of like I was saying earlier, when he's jogging or loping, you know, I want him to go slow, but there's a fine line of them not going correctly when they get too slow and they fall apart. So he teaches me awareness too, I think. Well, I think they all teach you awareness, but yeah, I do have to be a little more assertive with him because he can take advantage and he can be lazy, and I have to push him. And I know, you know, I probably could get on him a little bit more about going and not let him go that way, but, you know, just probably be more assertive. But for me, I think that there's just a fine line of where I need to be assertive to get him to do what I want, but I don't want him to do too much, you know. And it's like I want him to. I like having to be with him, and like even lunging. It's like I'm with him every stride because I'm paying attention. He's 9 this year, and I got him when he was 4. He had just turned 4, and yeah, it's funny how they all teach you something different. I'll have to think about Mousy because I'm not sure. Yeah, I was watching, I think it was a video that I was watching of the guy Chris Irwin, that wrote Horses Don't Lie. And I just got his book. I got that book, Horses Don't Lie by Chris Irwin. And I was watching a video of him, and he says there's 3 awarenesses. And the first one is awareness of what you're doing, where you're standing, what your body's doing. And he was in the round pen with a horse. And the second awareness is the relationship awareness. So the relationship of you and your horse. And the third awareness was the environmental awareness. And I want to say Mousy's really in tune with what's around in his environment. I don't know. He doesn't pay so much attention to what's in the environment around us. He pays attention to me, and I think that's why, you know, when I'm lunging him, I have to kind of really pay attention to him and not let my focus go someplace else, because I think they all show when your focus goes someplace else in some kind of a way. But yeah, he's did somebody else say something? Yeah, he's 9, and he's a little more mature than Mousy, but he's also done a lot more than Mousy. But they're just different personalities too. Back. He's just like, even when you get on them, they both have different feels to them. I resonate with his energy the most, I think, out of anybody. But who is it? Is it Susan that's still here? Susan? Don't chew on this. Let go, let go. Okay, yes. Okay. Yeah. I don't know. I think I'm done. I was talking about something and my mind just went blank. I was wanting to do, well, this is the second. Oh, thank you. Quit. I was wanting to do it live today because I read the beginning of my new book. Okay, quit. That's enough. I read the beginning of it, and I was just like, wow, yeah, I need to do a video and talk about this. And then I read some more stuff and watched some videos on YouTube, and then did some stuff. And by the time I came out here and I started to talk about my book and what I wanted to talk about, it wasn't coming out right at all. And so I stopped that one and started this one and did a little bit of lunging with him. And then once we got going, some stuff came out, not about my book or anything that I was reading, but yeah. But it is one thing that he said in his book, and it was a quote from Ray Hunt, is, you know, when you're working with the horse is really not about the horse, it's about you. And, you know, working on you. And I think that's true because, you know, they show you things like when I was lunging him, and, you know, if I'm kind of like this, he slows down, and it's like, okay, I have to change me to help him do what he's supposed to do. And I don't know if that makes sense or not. It's not coming out right today. You ever have those kind of days where things just don't come out the way that you see them in your mind and you want to share? And I think it's because this is like just, it's not new to me, but it's like I'm like wanting to talk about it, and maybe it's just not time to talk about it. And he said in his book too, he says, you know, this might sound airy fairy, but it's really not. And that's kind of what I feel like today. Back up. It's like it's airy fairy, but it's just about awareness. Oh, good. I'm glad somebody understands it. Yeah, it's just about awareness though, you know, and there were some things when I was lunging him I can't really exactly think of now, but I mean, they do things because of something in us. And from what Chris Irwin said about the 3 awarenesses, when they do something, he didn't say this part, this is just what I know, is like when they do something, if you're aware of you, you can probably pretty much figure out why they did what they did or why they're doing it, and then what you have to do to help correct that, you know. And it's like, you know, with him, he likes to always come close, and that's my energy, is like, I think my energy invites him in. So when he's doing that, you know, it can be like frustrating if I wasn't aware of like what I was feeling. But I mean, he crowds me. Yes, you help each other. Yeah. But yeah, he crowds me because he likes to be close to me too. But, you know, you can tell if you're aware of your space and your bubble, you know, you get a feeling when they crowd you and they come into your space. And if you don't know what to do about it, it can be frustrating and like, you know, why is he doing this? And it's like, you know, it's like he's going to keep doing it if I don't change me. And with him, you know, sometimes just going like this, you know, out, he ignores that. Wimpy, my little appy, he's pretty good. I go out, he goes out. So he's real sensitive to that. He, again, is my lazier one, my more stubborn one. So I either have to like spank him, you know, to make him get out and pay attention, or what I've been doing is making him whoa and disengage his hind end. So if I look at his butt, he whoas, and then I'll either back away from him and start him again, or I'll make him back, and then I make him go the other way, and then I just really step into it. So I have to make my energy more assertive. And yeah, so back to that. That's what he's teaching me, to be more assertive, because I'm kind of easygoing, and I didn't have to really be assertive with my appy. He was my first one that I had as an adult, and he's such a good boy. Very light with stuff like that. And yeah, he tests that a little bit more so. So yeah, he's a good boy though. I like his energy. I like this. And a lot of times he's like a nibbler, like mousy, but not as bad. He likes to lick. He's a licker. He likes to be close. But yeah, my mind just went blank again. Somebody sent me a text and I saw it at the top. Yeah, yes. Wait, was that Susan saying that? Yes. yeah, it's true about people. Yeah, so I think, I mean, they can help you to see that. I know that just from being a personal trainer and training people and working with people. You know, you can kind of tell how close to stand to somebody because everybody has their own personal space and bubble. And it's the same with horses too. You don't want them to be in your bubble. And it's kind of like, you know, about the distance from the stick out all the way around you. And they shouldn't come into that space without you asking them or inviting them. And I think sometimes our energy does that and we might not be aware. So I know when he's coming in close to me, it's because my energy has like kind of allowed him to do that. So he's crowding my space and I have to get that assertiveness back up to like keep him out. And that's hard to do sometimes too, you know, when I love to be close to my horses, but you know, they have to behave too when they're supposed to behave. So, oh, I think that's what I was talking about. So I usually stop him and make him disengage his butt and then start him off again and like step into him so he steps away from me out of my space. And then I try to just keep him out. And I think the reason he was doing it more so today is because I was trying to talk about things too. And so when my focus is like here instead of here, then he kind of like, you know, he kind of inches in and comes in closer and kind of takes advantage. So that's why when I work with my horses, usually it's like I don't really talk. I don't talk to him. I pay attention to what I'm doing because I don't know if you guys saw the beginning when I was lunging him, but I watch for certain things when I'm lunging. I don't just lunge. You know, somebody said a while back, you know, that I posted that I had lunged a couple horses that day and they said lunging was overrated. And I think it just depends on how you use it, you know, and it's like, I don't use it to just mindlessly make my horse go around in circles to get energy out or whatever. It's like I use it for a lot of different things. I use it for developing a connection. And oh, he's itching his ear. Can you see that? With his little back foot. But I also use it for when I was talking earlier in the video about, you know, you can teach them to go slow and go correctly on the ground, not just on their backs. So like on days like this is a cold day, I didn't really feel like riding. And, you know, it's like I wanna just lunge. So you can still work on, you know, we're Western Pleasure. So Western Pleasure is about the slowness and the lift, but not just slow, it's correct. They have to travel correct. And you can see sometimes horses will go slow, but they're not really correct. And by correct, I mean like for the jog is a 2-beat gait and the left front and the right back should move and hit the ground at the same time, and then the opposite diagonal should move and hit the ground at the same time. That's correct. And like if you didn't see the beginning when I was lunging him and talking about that, he goes slow and then he gets lazy. And then when he gets lazy, then he breaks to a walk. And so when I'm lunging him, I'm paying attention to the look of his feet, but also what it feels like when he's doing it. I'm listening to his feet hit the ground. So I guess I'm tuning in and like using some different senses as far as I'm using my physical eyes to watch his feet, but I'm using my ears to hear the beat of his jog. And then I'm using, I guess you could call it maybe like energetically feeling what he's doing. And so I'm allowing him to go slow, but pushing him enough to where he stays true to that 2 beat So it should be a 1, 2, 1, 2. And if they're not doing that, like he tends to get, he gets lazy in his back end. So his front end still keeps doing what it's supposed to do, but his back end starts to kind of short step. And yeah, I tune into all my senses, I think, you know, and it's like, I think when you do that too on the ground, it helps you to recreate it easier and better when you're in the saddle, you know, because when you know what it feels like, and then you're watching it on the ground and you know what it looks like when you're on them, in your mind's eye, you still have that visualization of what it's supposed to look like. And then you put that with the feeling of what it's supposed to feel like. And I think you can recreate that feel within yourself. And when you do that, they feel that. So you can tend to get that with using less hands and less legs, although you still have those two things to help you. So you have two extra things when you're riding them that you don't when they're on the ground like this. So, you know, I think this gives you on the ground, let's say it gives you 3 parts. 3 parts, and then you get 2 extra parts when you ride. So you have your hands and your legs to kind of help you to get there or reinforce it if you need to. But on the ground, it's like when you're trying to get them to go a certain way, like for Western pleasure, you can teach them how you want them to go on the ground. And you can feel what they're doing. And then you can also send a certain feel that you have to them. I think it's like it makes like a circle. It's like Susan said, it's like you're helping each other. So, you know, I'm watching him and seeing, okay, he just broke. So it's like, you know, I try to move him up into it. And when he gets correct, I try to breathe with him and feel that feel. And I try to hold that feel for him too. But then also I have my stick to not necessarily touch his butt, but to kind of move it behind him. That kind of like increases the energy just a little bit. Let me back up. It helps me to, like, if I do this like kind of like behind his butt, especially when he's loping, it helps me to kind of keep that rhythm for him. So he's not picking up on me feeling him lose it. You know, I think that's like a hard thing too, as far as like, you know, when you're in tune with your horse and then they do something that isn't really right, you want to make sure you don't stay stuck on the feeling that's not right. You want to be able to help them change that energetically and physically. I don't know if that makes sense or not. That just kind of came out. But it's like, you know, when I was lunging Mousy a couple days ago and the cones, you know, at one point I went back and watched it. And at one point, and I watched Wimpy's video. I had lunged him first before that. And then during Mousy's video, I had said that I was feeling claustrophobic, you know, with him being between the cones. And I thought it was me, but then I went back and watched Wimpy's, and it's like, I didn't feel that way with his, you know, and it's like 2 different personalities they have. So I don't know if you guys watched those, but go back and watch those so then you know what I'm talking about. But Wimpy was just such a good boy. I didn't feel claustrophobic because I knew how he would be too, though, you know, but I know Mousy's personality, and I think the feeling that I was feeling was him. It wasn't me, you know. So when you're sensitive and you're an empath, oh good, thank you. Yeah, I know you were there for Mousy's, but when you're an empath and sensitive, which I think a lot of horse people are, sensitive, and sometimes it's like, I think people can be sensitive, and they're like sensitive and then they don't know what to do about it, or because they're feeling certain things. I mean, this is me. It's like the older I get, the more I learn and trust what I'm feeling. And, when you're sensitive and you're an empath, you think everything is you a lot of times. And then you have the opposite of like, people think that everything's their horse's fault. Oh, he's being bad. That's like, that's his fault. But it's a team. It's teamwork. And, it's like you work together, and it's about both. And so when I went back and watched Mousie's and said that I felt claustrophobic and he's feeling me, I think it was actually the opposite. It was me feeling him and me sensing how he was going to be before everything happened, because I said, this is going to be entertaining. I just know him. And yeah, it's like I'm learning that with my mare too, that when I feel something, I think I'm sensing what is going to happen before it happens, or I'm sensing what they're doing right now. And that's what I was feeling from him, was, being in between those cones. It felt different than when I was with Wimpy. And I'm like, it wasn't me. It was him that I was feeling. And I think that's sometimes hard to like remember or to see is, and I think that's the hardest thing too about being a sensitive person or an empath, is like figuring out what is your stuff and what is somebody else's stuff, whether it's people or horses. And, looking back and, remembering how I felt with Wimpy, and then with Mousie, it's like I didn't feel that with Wimpy, so it wasn't me feeling claustrophobic in between the cones, it was just him. Yeah, we have to figure out what we're feeling, if it's us or somebody else as an empath. That's true. And I think I can do it with people pretty good, because I work with people, clients, for a long time. And horses, though, it's like it's a learning process. Because sometimes I get in the mode of like, everything's like my fault, everything's me. And then, then you like step back and say, okay, maybe some of it is, oh, wait. Oh, shoot. Checking out my YouTube channels, and there are lives again. Which horse are you working with? Okay. Oh, Karen, hi. This is Chancey. And yeah, I worked with him already. We're done. We're just kind of chit-chatting. And he's my, well, no, I'm not going to say anything about him. Did you just get here? Because Karen is one of my fitness clients, and I hope she's okay with me saying that. But she's going to be coming out and meeting the horses. So I don't want to say too much about him if you've just tuned in. Yeah, we talked about having her go around and stand in front of each horse and just jot down some things that she feels from them. But yeah, what was I talking about? Oh yeah, okay, so with I think because too, horses are more honest than people. And what I mean by that is they don't separate their minds and bodies and spirits. And I read that in Chris Irwin's book, Horses Don't Lie. They're honest. If they feel something, they react or act a certain way depending on what they feel. They don't really suppress things unless they've had to. Yes, they're very open and very honest. So, with people. People suppress things and they hide things and they wear masks. And in a way, I think that can be harder to tell, like how somebody is being, you know, like what is your stuff and what is somebody else's. But then again, sometimes it's easier when you know your stuff and how you're feeling. And with horses, though, I think because if you're open and they're open, it can be sometimes a little bit harder to tell. Wait, was that him or was that me? You know, because with Mousy and the 2 cones and the claustrophobic feeling, I am claustrophobic. You know, and it was challenging for me to know that I had to stay in between those 2 cones, but I don't think it was because I was claustrophobic. I think it was because, you know, now looking at the whole thing, it was because I know how he is. And I knew it was going to be challenging to make him stay in those 2 cones so we could stay on camera. I think that's more what I was feeling. Yes, it can be very overwhelming. And, you know, so and this is what I felt, because this is a part I read in the book too, Horses Don't Lie. It's like, you know, I'm like paying attention to me and my awareness and what I'm doing and my energy to keep him there and, you know, not want to move away, because the day or 2 before when I said I lunged him and I videotaped it, you know, we weren't in between those 2 cones. So, you know, if you're trying to achieve a certain thing, so that was like one of my goals, was to keep him in between the cones, to keep him on video. So that's probably was like one of the main things that was in the back of my head. We have to stay in between the cones. Yeah, it's really good. It was like, I mean, after reading the preface, is that how you say it? Preface or preface? Before I even got to chapter 1, it was just like, wow, this is like so good. I had to put it down because it's like, I don't know if I can take in anymore. This is like, oh, I have to like put it down and think about this kind of stuff. Because yeah, he said a lot of good things. And with Mousy, when I was lunging him, yeah, I was paying attention to different things and thinking that it was me that was claustrophobic because I knew I had to stay in between the cones, but it's like I think it was him. And you saw how he reacted to the cones when he'd go by, he'd kick at them. You know, it's like he just couldn't help it. He couldn't stand it. And that wasn't me. That was his energy. So I knew that. I knew that wasn't me. I knew that was his. But then I think, you know, you try to blend together as a team, and it's like, so the way I react or respond to what he was doing and what he was feeling makes a difference in the outcome of the situation. And, you know, it's like, yeah, I mean, we ended on a really good note. But I think, to me, that's what the lunging session was about, was sometimes you don't know how it's going to be when you start, and you just have to start. And then I think things pop up that let you know what you're supposed to work on for that day. And I kind of knew he was going to be that way to the cones because he's done that kind of stuff before. I haven't had 2 cones set up like that to stay in between, but I've had one where he'd go past and kick it. So I kind of had a feeling, I could feel his energy, like he was just like mischievous when we started. And it's like, our goal, besides staying in between the cones, was to work that out. You know, get it to where in the very end, if you watched it, I made him, I moved closer to it because he was being good. I moved closer to this one over here and made him go past it 2 times without him even offering to kick. And we were pretty close to it too. So that was my goal. And when he did that, I'm like, okay, we've moved past whatever it was in the beginning that was making him want to kick at him. So, you know, you always want to end on a good note. And then we just jogged once after that, I think, and then that was it. And I was happy with that. So the whole session was just learning, I think, learning about me. I learned about me. I learned about him. We learned how to work together to become better. So we were better in the end than we were when we started. And I think that's the whole goal of any session that you do, whether it's lunging or riding or whatever. And with him, I'm trying to think of him. He says, I'm always a good boy. But like I said, he's taught me a lot of about crowding and making him, move away. And there was the lady that wrote Riding Between the Worlds. She talked about that. So she has a place. It's a equine facilitated psychotherapy place. She has a place that, so she works with a bunch of different people. And she says she comes across some women that think that that's mean to set boundaries. And, I heard Chris Cox say one time, and this makes a lot of sense. It's like, because I always want to be close to my horses. I want to be close and kiss on them and stuff. But he can be kind of pushy. And back up. And, when they crowd you when you're lunging or doing anything and you want them to stay back there, it's like they're a big animal and they can hurt you. And Chris Cox said that, let me see if I can say this right. Let me think about it for a second before I say it. Boundaries, he talked about how important boundaries are. Boundaries equals safety, and safety equals love. So if you want to show your horse love, you have to have boundaries, because that equals safety for the two of you. One to teach them to respect you and what you want, but you also have to respect them. And I think it's just all in how you teach your boundaries. Now if you're whipping them and, going overboard or whatever, yeah, that's mean. But you can do corrections, like his correction that works well with him, which I'll go out and show you. I'll try to change my energy so he walks kind of in close to me, and I'll show you what I've been doing that works really well for him. Something that he understands. And it's basically catching it in the beginning before it kind of starts to happen. But it's me learning to be assertive, more assertive too, because I am a pretty easygoing person. And this was kind of hard for me to learn. But it's about being assertive and kind of owning my power, but not an abusive power. It's just teaching him. And then he respects me for doing this. So I'm just going to ask him to just walk. And I'm going to let him come in kind of close. So see how close he comes if I don't do anything about it. So, whoa. I make him stop. And I let him get kind of too close. I'm going to back him up. So, whoa. So one way to nip that in the butt before it even starts is to walk, make him move out farther away right from the beginning. But see, now he's kind of close. Whoa. I just disengage and walk. And then I make him move his shoulders away from me more, so that the circle is bigger right from the start. He doesn't come in and crowd me. Walk. And he's kind of starting to inch in a little bit because I'm talking, and he's like, I'm not sure what I'm supposed to do. Walk. He's waiting, which is kind of good in a way because he's paying attention to me. Walk. See, and he's like, whoa. He's wanting to cut in, so I would just do this, and then you can like change directions like right away. But when you do that too, you want to make sure that, and I'll do it here, whoa. That you kind of step into it too. Because I didn't even really touch him with the whip. I just swung towards his shoulder, but he knows. And whoa. 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 That's better. So we work on that kind of stuff too. Like, you know, if they do something that is not like the way that you want it, you don't want to just leave it. You want to kind of fix it when you can. And otherwise it gets worse. You know, so like the cutting in thing, you know, when that first started happening to me, it's like I was feeling it. You know, it's just like when somebody invades your space, it's like you just feel, ugh. And he would do that, and it would like frustrate me because it's like, what do I do? Oh, thank you. What do I do when he does this other than, you know, I can use my stick and I kind of shake it like this towards him, and he kind of ignores that. So I either have to spank him this way or spank his butt. And rather than doing that, I just stop him. I just stop him like I just showed you. I make him whoa and disengage his butt just by looking at his butt. And then I ask him to go the opposite direction usually, and move that shoulder away. And then when you do that, it almost makes you feel better too, because it's like, you know, because it used to bother me. It's like, because, you know, you can like let things go sometimes, and it's like, you know, he just invaded my space, and, you know, he kind of gets out eventually. Or another thing that we'll do is we'll step back. We fix it for them. And when you're doing that, it's like they've just taken away your power. He won. He was in control. He made me move away from him, you know, and it's like, that's what we can tend to do, especially women tend to do with somebody that's, what would I say? Not really being a bully, but I mean, for bullies too, but somebody that's like over aggressive. Somebody that just is like, the right word's not coming to me. Dominant. Somebody that's more dominant, has a dominant personality. You ever been around a person like that and they kind of make you feel like this? Yes, overpowering. You know, there are people that make you feel that way, where you're just like, and that's what it feels like when your horse kind of comes in and cuts in. It's like, whoa, you feel that feeling of, even though your feet haven't moved, your energy goes back. You know, you're moving away from it without moving your feet. It's like a suppressing feeling, and in a way you are suppressing, because it's like somebody just stepped in your space and took your power away, and you let it happen. So it's like you just suppressed your power, and it's very, I want to say liberating, is that the right word? When they do it and you say, no, you're not going to do that, we're going to fix it. But you don't have to be aggressive. You don't have to spank their butt. Now, maybe if a horse was more, I mean, look at him. If there was a horse that was more rank or whatever, you might need to go to that extreme. But with him, you know, he's just kind of, you see how pokey and lazy he is. It's like he just understands doing what I did, just making him stop and then stepping into him and making him right from the beginning, move his shoulder away and stay out of my space. And then if I pay attention to it, like I said, I think the reason he does it more so is because I'm talking here and then trying to make him do, you know, what he's supposed to do. But when we're by ourselves, it usually doesn't get to that point because I'm paying attention, and when it starts to happen, I can just wiggle my stick like this towards him and he'll move away. But if it gets to the point where he gets too close, if I am doing that, he just ignores it and gets closer. So, you know, but that right there is like a feeling of like, you know, just taking your power back, asserting yourself. So, yeah, because I'm an easygoing person, and he's bringing out my assertiveness in myself with that kind of stuff, and teaching me about the energy, because that does have a certain feel when somebody cuts in, you know, like, he's like, what are you doing? And I did that with like a energy, like, you know, and did you see him move away? He's like, what are you doing? You're in my space. See, and he just came back. He's like, but then if I like open up, is that okay? And then you can blend your energy together. Can you guys feel that? Can you feel the love? Now I'm just being silly. Well, not really, but it is true. See, now he's like pulling and tugging on me. But anyway, this video is getting really long. And yeah, I think it didn't really get good until just this last part of it. Susan got here, then I had somebody to talk to. It makes it easier when somebody's here to talk to and to, yeah, say things, make comments and stuff. But what do you got? An itch? He has an itch. Can you see him? He has an itch. Oh, I'll get it. It's up here. Oh. Oh, different? Okay. Okay, no, get your head up. Oh, wait, what does that say? Oh, I'm glad you like being here. Quit, let go. He has a hold of my jacket. Okay, let go, good boy. Yeah, I don't know what time it is, but it's kind of chilly today. I don't know if I'll get Mousy out or not. Thank you. I'm glad you're here too. Are you ready to be done? Should we get Mousy out and do a live lunging for him? 4:10. Okay. And yeah, 8:09 in Canada, right? It's been windy and cold here as well. Yeah, today is like the coldest it's been in a while. And yeah, we have a little bit of a breeze, which makes it even colder. And I think tomorrow is supposed to be a little chilly too. And then I think it warms up just a little bit again. But I think it was 16 degrees here this morning. And yeah, and it hasn't warmed up a whole lot. Like I said, I have 2 horses still with blankets on that they weren't sweating underneath. They were fine, but he tends to sweat easier and his hair is a little bit longer. I think that's a semi with a bunch of horses on it. Yeah, that's a horse trailer. Oh wow, that's a huge horse trailer. That's what he's looking at. I don't know, well, you can't see him. He's looking that way, his ears are up. But yeah, and so I had to take his and baby's off because they were a little sweaty underneath. And yeah, he seems fine, but you can tell his hairs are kind of fluffed up because it's chilly. But yeah, if I took Mousy out and lunged him, it would probably be interesting because it is chillier. But yeah, I don't know. I might just go inside. What do you guys think? You're so cute. Yeah, I did a little bit of clicker training with him the other day. I had gotten clickers like a long time ago, and then I lost them, then I got some more and lost those. Last ones that I had though, I had done a little bit with him and just did it the other day too. Yeah, I think I will, because my hands are kind of chilly. But yeah, I might do a little bit of that before I go in, some clicker training, teaching him to touch the target. He's about ready to fall asleep, it looks like. Did you hear that? He's like, yeah, let's be done. Okay, you guys, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you soon in another video. Hope you guys have a good night. Yeah, wasn't that funny? He's like, yeah. He's actually been being really good. I'm impressed, because he's usually like a busybody too, but yeah, he's just standing here like falling asleep. He worked really hard. Thank you, Susan. I'm glad you're here. It's always fun when you're here. And thank you for watching. And I'm gonna go ahead and put his blanket on. He should probably be good now. The sun's gonna be going down in just a little bit. So we'll put the 2 blankets on and get inside and get warmed up. Yeah. You have a great night too. And yeah, so he has a couple books. I bought 2 books from him. The other one is Horses Don't Lie, but it's like, I think has something else after it too. It's about something different, but yeah, you would probably find them really interesting. So anyway, hope you guys have a great night, and we'll see you in another video. Say bye-bye. Okay, wait. Trying to turn this off. Am I still on? I'll try to post the book in the description when I get inside, if you're still here. This isn't like wanting to, my finger's too cold, I think. I think I'm still recording. Am I?